So now we got Full Gear coming up this weekend. I am fascinated. I am not a TikTok guy. I'm late to getting there, but I have
Me
not
neither.
been
Me neither.
I have not been able to escape the Costco guys and the Rizzler.
Sure.
Like, it is one of those things where this year I have become acquainted with who they are. How did you first meet this family, AJ? Because
Man.
I understand it goes back quite a while.
Yeah, so my first ever independent show outside of the Monster Factory was his last. He was retiring, and he kind of bestowed his babyface run to me as a babyface. And hey, this wrestling company's going to be in good hands because I got, at the time, Bulldog Mike Calari, and he's going to be the next guy, and blah, 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 blah. And we just always stayed in touch. And then Sanjay had worked with him on the Indies, and Sanjay brought him up. I said, I have his number. Let's give him a call. We invited him all out. And then I knew, right? I knew, this is where the worker in me comes in. I knew as a professional wrestler, you're always a professional wrestler, right? Like, I just got to convince him to get back in the ring. And if I could do it and sell him on the idea, do it in your hometown, in front of your friends, your family, in front of your son, like what a moment it could be. And maybe we do a tag match where I could do some of the heavy lifting. And then, of course, it was like, well, my plan all along was to do one-on-one, right? Because I don't want to share the spotlight, and I don't want him to share the spotlight, and also, would they cheer me? Maybe, but I think it's a lot like stay in the lanes that we're good at, and we're able to make it happen. And like I said, I mean, from the time that we made this agreement, right after All Out to now, they have just blown up like quadruple the amount, right? I mean, like I said, late night with Jimmy Fallon and being able to say just even saying my name on there, I was like, wow, like this is more than we could have ever asked for, you know what I mean? And it was, and then the announcement of the Rizzler last night,
buddy,
on Dynamite,
that blew up on social media.
Crazy. I mean, it's just, and then we have the weigh-in tomorrow night on Rampage. Like, there's just, part of it was that we didn't want to not advertise. We didn't want to take up a lot of TV time. One, because his fans and following are not our fans, right? So it's like, okay, let's put it on social and kind of see how it does. And also then there's not a lot of pushback from people in the company. And it is completely different from everything else on the TV show. So it's like, all right, how do we make it work, right? And, there's always going to be positives and negatives to everything, but I think we stay in our lane. We try to do it on social and, and make the audience want to put it on TV. I've always been like that, Sean. Like, if I wanted to do an angle, let's do it on dark. Let's do it on elevation. Let's build it up to the point where the fans are asking for it on a main show, right? And instead of just sitting back and saying, hey, I don't want to do anything if I'm not on the main show. No, just any opportunity is a great opportunity. So, that's kind of what we did. And, we always had the agreement that this would be on the 0 hour. It would be free for all his fans, so this way they could see it and, just, again, stay in his lane and stuff. So we've been more than happy with what they've been able to bring to the table. He's super professional. I can't wait to embarrass him and show him that, you were okay 20 years ago, but you're definitely not the former God's gift to professional wrestling. But it's going to be a spectacle nonetheless. And I know he's really helped the ticket sales and, and just bringing like I said, the mainstream publicity to it. So it's everything you could possibly ask for. And the fact that he actually was a wrestler before this, I think was a little, it helped, it definitely helped try to get it into the end zone. So we're at the 1 yard line now. That's what I told someone today.
So when I would ask around about this, I was told a number of things. We had even reported as much as what you had told us earlier. Like, there were talent that were saying QT was adamant, don't put it on the show because he understands the political elements of this and how some people could get upset. And then in the last week, AEW is like, we got to put it on Dynamite. Like, it's doing good numbers for us. Like, it put them in a position where they needed to. And I saw, and I was going to ask like how you felt about some of the criticism, because I saw you even quote tweet and you posted, this did 3 million views on social. That goes a long way in promoting a show and just letting people know that Full Gear is happening, whether or not they want to watch these guys on it or not.
Right. And I mean, at the end of the day, like, I don't love every segment on every show that I ever watched, right? But at the end of the day, like, I understand there's a business at hand and there's a reason and a rhyme and reason why people do everything. If they don't understand it, that's okay. They're not, we're not going to sit there and explain the inner workings of the wrestling industry to them. We're putting on a TV show. But at the end of the day too, like, it's easier for me to just circle the number of views post that instead of trying to explain the entire wrestling industry to some people. And like I said, at the end of the day, is it different than what we normally do? Sure, of course. But, I mean, what AEW was when it first started, it was an alternative that took independent wrestlers, a lot of independent wrestlers that didn't get their chance at the WWE or something, right? To get their opportunity on the big stage. And literally that's what this is. It just is 20 years later. You know what I mean? And it just so happens that he happens to have, an amazing following and a lot of viewers that are willing to click, on everything that he posts. So I thought it was a win-win all around.
Well, until we saw that diss track you dropped, QT.
Almost had 1 million views on TikTok. That's the biggest thing I've ever done in my life.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, when we first brought him in, one of Giancarlo, he said, "Hey, you gotta make some kind of parody of this," and I was like, okay, I'm down for whatever. You know what I mean? Like I'm not in tune with the TikTok world and social media like that. I every now and then I'll chime in, but for the most part, I stay to myself.
Oh, buddy, I heard he was real. I heard Giancarlo was real proud of it. He was very proud.
He loves it. Yeah. This is like his baby, And but it did really well, and I thought it was fun. And like I said, for people that are like, this is worse than whatever, blah blah blah. Sure, whatever you want to say, but it got people talking. It definitely got exposure, and at the end of the day, that's literally what this industry is about: is eliciting a reaction from the audience. So if we're doing that, I think we're doing our job. If it translates, we'll see. I'm waiting for the rating to come out for Dynamite today. I'm hoping that AJ and Big Justice popped the number, but who knows? And at the end of the day, too, we get him next to Private Party, who, Mark Quinn and Isaiah walked out the other night and did the Riz face. So
Yes.
It was like, oh, that's perfect. Just put them together. You know what I mean? And you put them with baby faces from the area. It all makes sense. And like I said, if you can't see that, hey, it is what it is. We're not going to have to beat you over the head with it.